Okay, I've just had a flare shoot up into the sky over the UK. I thought it was our 3 o'clock alarm on Sunday, but it turns out it's the Plastic EP show, and Plastic is with Mrs. Plastic, Vic, and they are now recording. I think it's 925 shows. We're well on the way to 1,000 shows, and it's an incredible achievement for anyone that's been following. Plastic's kind of work over the last 300 years, which is how long it takes to record nearly 1,000 episodes of this. I mean, Plastic, as you all know, was actually recording these episodes on a wax cylinder back in the early 1930s, and has progressed through wax cylinders, 78s, 33s, 45s, cassettes, onwards to CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray, even cans with pieces of string on them to record this. It's quite an effort. And if you go to many museums around the world, you will see amongst steam engines and the sort of rising of building through the Egyptians right through to Concorde and the production of Concorde. All the way along this, you will see you'll be able to trace Plastic's kind of route and all the things that he's done with his show since then. So I'm very honored to be talking to the Plastics today, as we call them. And I'd just like to ask you, the first thing to kick off is, how I know some people understand how this started back at the beginning of time, around the time of Christ and dinosaurs and various other things, Darwinism. But from your point of view, what was the catalyst that made you start doing this?
Well, I'll tell you, my life has been music. Myself, Plastic EP, and Vicky, drummer for the EPs. And we started, as I said, I started music in 1981 in a punk band called Plastic EP in the Records. Right, and I released my first single. Then the second single, The Master, disappeared. So the third single became the second single. And the second year of Plastic EP in the Records, I said, listen, Plastic EP in the Records sounds like Cliff Richard and the Shadows. We're going to make it shorter. So let's just call ourselves the EPs. I'll keep the name Plastic EP, which of course is the EP record, 2 songs on one side, 2 songs on the other, an EP. And John Lennon used to refer to vinyl as plastic. So that's why I got the name Plastic EP. And then what happens is we became the EPs. Then I got married. Then Vicky came into the band for 25 years and she's still there. And I said, you got to go out for drum lessons because you look good. You just drum, not a problem. We'll produce the songs. And she has. And then the story. She'd be doing housework and I got a song in my head and she'll walk past and stop. And she'll go, what for? I said, I need you to sing the song. And then I said, I don't let her listen to the song. I just sang her the part. And I say, I need you to do this here, there, and that. And she does it. And then she goes on with her housework. And then the next week, it's like, can you come here? You're singing on this. She goes, not again. I go, yes, you need to do this, this, and this. And she does it. It's a true story. And I never told anybody that I was married to Vicky for over 25 years in the band because I had this John Lennon syndrome that you don't say that you're married to somebody in the band. So after 20 years, people would start asking, how come when you do video clips, you and Vicky seem to be close? And then I thought, oh, they're catching on now after 25 years. Let's tell the world that I'm actually married to Vicky. So, I mean, you say your side of the story. And then what the joke was for over 25 years is Wally and I would be upstairs because we've got a 2-story house. And I'd be yelling down, Mrs. Plastic EP, can you make a cup of tea? Because we knew that was a joke, that no one would know that we're Mr. and Mrs. Tell him the truth.
Yeah, I would just get dragged in to do part of their collaboration on songs. And while they were, Plastic would write the lyrics, his partner, Walter Siobhan, would do the music to it. And then they would rope me in to just say, look, it'll only take a few minutes. Come and do this, sing the song with us or sing the lyrics. And that I would just get no preparation time. It would be on the spot. This is what I want you to do and just do it. So, it's been the way we've worked for a very long time, and it's been a success. So very grateful to Plastic.
Vicky, you said that obviously you're a drummer.
Yes.
Is that something you were born, you loved drumming, or was that something that came about as you grew up?
Well, I did start playing the guitar when I was at secondary school, and that's what I do like, playing the guitar. And with Plastic's influence, I did start some drumming lessons and participated in the band as the drummer. So yes, it's something that I've learned to love.
I've got to tell you a story, right? And this is true, and I'm glad you brought up guitars. Now, you got to understand how I work. Nobody can believe this, but I can put a drum beat down and sing the song from the start to the end with nothing there, no instruments. It's just clarity. I just know the song, right? The melody, I get the whole song. I don't just get bits. But what happens is I had a song called Secret Love, and I remember going to the recording studio, and I had the guitar. And what happens is my brain transfers to my hand slower than I want to play, right? Like, in other words, I don't bang, bang, bang. It's like it's a thought process. And what happens is the message from the head to the guitar is a different thing. So why would I want to be a second-rate guitarist when I can get somebody that can play guitar and it's 1,000 times better? So when you get the whole song, I'd rather get people that can play better and get a better sound. It's not, I don't want perfection. I actually want it. You know, when it's spontaneous, that's the best way to write a song. And I've got to explain to you, when I went into the recording studio and I did this song called Secret Love, I was sitting down, there was a producer. We had a producer, and he goes, "What's the song you got?" And I go, "Secret Love." It goes like this. And I go, "Secret Love." And I'm singing it to him, secret, secret, secret love. And I'm moving the guitar, my hand, and he's coming across and looking at my hand and going, "What sort of chords are those?" Because he's trying to write it down. I go, "That's what I hear in my head. I don't know what chords I'm playing, but that is the sound that is coming from my hand to my head." Like, you know, whether it's D or G, it might end up being something that he doesn't even see before. But in my head, that's what it is. It's like, I can't explain it to you. But now what I do is, when I go and record a song, I record 4 at once. And I'll tell you why. I've come to the point, when you've written over 2,400 songs, it's like going around the block. You get it. Usually what I like to do is, I'm driving in the car. I've got now a new member of the EPs because most of them have passed away, right, which is my nephew, and he's classically trained. He pulls out his iPhone. He's got a little organ there, and I go, "This is the song. Do you hear my demo?" And I've already sang it with the melody, and he hears it, and then I tell him the bits that he can't pick up, right, because he might go, da-da-da-da, and I go, no, you got to go, da-da-da-da-da, and you go, da-da-da-da, right? And I give him the bits that he can't hear, that I imagine that I hear the song. And then what happens is, I don't want the full song now. I just want 2-3 lines, and I go in the studio, and I'll sing the complete song from start to end, do it once or twice, and it's done. Without paper, without words, without nothing, I got it. It's just now a natural ability, and I don't talk about it too much, because I'll be honest with you. You talk to musicians and tell them you've written 2,400 songs, original, right? Which is more than that now. First of all, they might not believe you. But if you go on the internet, you can see more than 100 albums have been released digital. So it's not something I can make up. It's the same as interviews. You can't do 925 interviews if you don't know what you're talking about. So I have this special talent where you either got it or you haven't. And I know when I got it. And I've had this as a child, because half the knowledge that I have, I don't go to books to look it up. I don't have a computer in my glasses with a screen that tells me what the answers are. You either know it or you don't. The thing is, I've lived it. You know where that rumor came from? That rumor came from you. Okay? So anyway, I have the knowledge because I remember things as they happened throughout the 60s, because while I was at school, and this is true, I wasn't concentrating on school. I was concentrating on the AM radio, what songs being played, what news is filtered through for bands. And that's why I can remember things that people can't. And Vicky, all this time, she says, "I don't understand you." And I said, "What is it you don't understand?" She goes, "I don't understand that you have this this talent that you're doing nothing with, that you know everything, but no one knows that you know, until the pandemic came along, and that was my chance to elevate myself out to the world. Like, you ask Vicky, she's like lost. I got pop memorabilia all around me. I live it every day. It's true.
Well, yeah, you're very talented. We know that. I also have to say, from my opinion, Plastic EP is a creative genius. He's written songs for over 2,000 songs. So he's just got a natural ability to, he's got a gift. It just comes to him. He knows how to put the words together, and the song lyrics are magical in most instances.
Yeah, but talk about the interviews. You can't get by with 5 interviews.
Before we get to the interviews. So this is your life story from the 70s, where you've been writing songs, and people need to know.
I've been doing that since I was 8 years old, but I recorded my first song in 1981, and I had a song when I was 8 years old, and it was in my head, and I sang it the way I sang it at 8 years old when I was 21. The thing is, when I was at elementary school, I don't really want to say elementary school, because here in Australia, we're like the UK system. I went to state school, and I want to tell people the state school I went to, because I'm so proud of it, right? It's Auburn South State School, Taronga Road, Hawthorne East. It's a little small school, and I went there. And I remember walking on the corner of Campbell Road and Burke Road. It's a corner there. There's a Catholic church across the road. And I remember walking like it was yesterday, and I get these words in my head. They appeared like nowhere. And the song went, I thought you were meant for me. My eyes were misled. You had someone else I didn't know. Please forget all I said. Forget all I said with you. Forget all I said. Forget all I said to you. Please forget all I said. And there it goes. Forget all I said with you. All right. And the song, the whole song is in my mind when I'm 8. And then I'm 21 recording it the same way I sang it. It never changed.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, that as we've kind of come through to the beginning of the pandemic and you start your shows, that technology has kind of changed quite a lot and allowed us to do a lot more with a lot smaller technology. You were talking earlier about, sort of smartphones and being able to, your relative being able to kind of record things on it and mix things. And I've been on trains, and I've been able to mix things. I've been able to pull out a guitar on a train and do something on the phone on that. I've been able to pull out drums, and then I've been able to pull out my organ, and and that's when the transport police come in and arrest me. That's anyway, that's the end of that story. But I was going to say, at the beginning of the pandemic, you start doing these shows. So what made you think, I mean, we know that you wanted to reach the world, of course, with this, but what sort of gave you the kind of vision to start doing these and start approaching people to do them? And how long did it take you to kind of get used to doing it? Because obviously, as you've been doing it over the years, you've got more and more kind of succinct at doing things, and the professionalism has grown, and your ability to kind of interview people has changed. So how long did that process from the beginning, when you started doing it, take to kind of feel really kind of like you were creating something that was your own and unique?
Well, I've got to explain. When you're in a pop group, that means you're out there in the public, right? So I was out in the public because I was performing and singing and whatever. All my life, I've been able to speak to people. And all my life, even in elementary school, I always sort of thought of myself as someone that can talk, that someone can announce, that someone can do things. And I've done events, right, growing up, right, like pop events on stage with artists and auctions, celebrity auctions and things like that. So it's not like Plastic EP has done nothing. It's like it's sort of elevated. And as soon as I went to the net, it's like this being has come from nowhere. But I've been going since like 78 as Plastic EP. And like the preparation I did, I'll give you an example, Simon. I went to Los Angeles with Vicky. We filmed everything like we were ready to do something. And I had everything ready before pandemic. And then what happens is, soon as that COVID thing came on, and then Zoom and all this was like, this is it, everyone's at home, I said to myself, I know about the technology because I'm always up to date on the net, what's happening. I go, this is it. I go, I got the song, and I'm thinking to myself now, at that point, like I've got 2,000 songs, and I'm thinking, what is the song that's going to elevate me to the top? Like I already knew. And after 5 minutes, I said, hey, Bananas, we think you're groovy. I go, the Americans love nutty things. That's the song that's going to elevate me above everybody. And what happened? There's Vicky and I walking down Hollywood Boulevard. I've already filmed it. I got the clip ready. No one's seen it. Here comes the pandemic. That's the theme song to my show. Then people come on and they go, what's this? Here's a guy walking down the street in a gold suit with glasses. His name's Plastic EP. He does this song called Hey Bananas, We Think You're Groovy. He's got this lady with her, right, and they're singing, and what is this? I've never seen anything like it because it's totally unique. Plastic EP is a character. It's like Elvira. As soon as I put these glasses, believe it or not, I'm a totally different person. Even Nathan Liu knows it.
Yeah,
it's
I know,
like, it's unbelievable.
I've talked to you off camera and you barely say a word. I mean, you know, I can hardly hear you when you take your glasses off.
No, I'm still a loudmouth, Simon, okay? You exaggerated, okay? Vicky's got relatives and I'm loud.
Simon, let's go back to the question that you asked, and it was about how did the interviews come about? Let's remember we were in a pandemic. Everyone was locked at home, and Plastic EP was trying to figure out what to do with his time because we were all at home together.
Wasn't the time. I'm looking for the platform to take off.
It was the opportunity.
I said, I'll do it.
It was an opportunity to try and to relate to other people and connect with other people around the world because you wanted to touch the global.
I wanted to devote my life to I want to devote my life to people and entertain them for free on the net. I didn't do it for any monetary terms. We've gone through this.
Right.
The thing is, what I'm saying is, I excel at what I do. And when I put my mind to it, I want to make the world happy. I don't care. I've devoted 3 years of my life, full time, Simon. No reward, no nothing, because I love the world. And I've been told by a very big Beatle person, he said, until you came along, all Beatle people were going off in different directions. But you're the glue. You're the one that made everything cohesive. So everybody knows what's going on in the UK and the US. And every Beatle fan, you invite them on the show, we're learning things. People are connected to people. It's like I know about one story I do, and I know then that story is connected to another person I interview, and then that's connected to another person that I don't recognize it. It's all interwound. How many times have I done that? It's like now I've become an investigative journalism because I just don't sit here. I look for stories and news about Beatle things and stuff that no one has ever heard of. And I'll interview people that the networks won't even talk to that are better and more entertaining than the people they talk to. And we're actually going now through a time where Plastic EP is competing against the network single-handedly. That is what happened. That's what I recognize right now. Every interview I do, and I just did one with Billy J. Kramer, and people are saying this is better than network TV. This is like the greatest. It's so slick. It's edited. It's all in the editing. Only what goes in my mind is the edit. I already get that. Once I get the raw film, Simon, I edited it, what's already in my head. I already know what I'm going to do. And that is like unbelievable. I cannot understand now that I'm spending 60% of my time now editing. Who has done 925 shows and edited it all by himself? Think of all the hours, and you know yourself of what I've done. This computer I've got now is like a dinosaur. I have to wait hours for 30 minutes to render. It's become a joke, right? But what I'm trying to say is I'm there. I'm this immovable thing that so many people around the world want to meet Vicky and I. You know how many invitations I've got to go all over the world? Please come and see us when you come here to this town, to that, to this and that. And I said to Vicky, I'll go. But when we go, we're going around the world and we're going to see the people that want to see us. And there's so many people every day say, please, can we meet you? We want to meet you, even celebrities. Right, I'll give you an example. Right, Gary Puckett, we went to his concert in Melbourne. That guy is the greatest. I helped promote his Melbourne shows and Australian shows. Do you know what? Before the end of the concert, he contacted me and said, I only want to meet you and Vicky after the concert. That's all he said. I only want to meet you two. We waited till everyone left. And guess what? We went there, we met him. He's the greatest and nicest person. He signed 3 of his original 60s albums, which I had out of my collection. And it was such an honor just to be able to talk to him for 15 minutes in the flesh. And then he went back to America in Florida and did something with George Trillinger, my friend, who's an entertainer, and he does Buddy Holly and Ed Sullivan and everything. And he's dying to meet me. He said, you need to come to my front door, you and Vicky, so I can meet you. And I said, I'll give you this promise. I will come. And there it is. He's left Melbourne, Gary Puckett, gone straight to Florida to do something. He's with George Trillinger. And George is saying, Gary's got one up on me. He's already met Plastic. You got to go to Australia to meet Plastic. I mean, I can't comprehend how can I say? I'm around the world now, internationally known. And I can tell you something now, and I want to tell you. I never talk about my interviews, never. All right, but I want to tell you. Now it's 9:24 a.m. in Melbourne, okay? PM at night. It's 6 a.m. shortly, and I'll be interviewing the Cowcells, right? One of the greatest family groups who they based the Partridge Family on. I can't wait. I already know what I'm going to say to them, and I believe it's the 3 remaining members. And to me, I don't have to say anything, but just to be able to interview them is such a privilege and an honor to me, because I grew up at the Cowcells. You know, they did the Rain the Park and other things, which should have been called Flower Girl. When Hair was on the stage here in Australia, their song Hair was the biggest thing being played every 5 minutes on the radio. And I know how much talent that group is. And I know their story. They even got a documentary called The Family Band, the Cowcells. And to me, it's things like that that drive me further. And as I said, no one knows because I don't talk about it. But it's going to be a blast and a gas, and I just can't wait till 6 a.m.
So what time is there right now?
Well, they're going to be appearing 5 p.m.
What time is it? What time is it now? There?
It's 9:25 in the evening, and I won't sleep.
Okay, yeah, I know that you never sleep.
And I've already done an interview before yours.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I mean, you don't understand. Yeah. I'm not lying to you, Simon. I actually believe that I'm a cyborg on cyberspace, and I live in cyberspace. That's how used to this is. As soon as I put the glasses on, I'm at home. I'm not like any other presenter. There's no one like me. I'm unique. The look, the glasses, the gold suit, that's the Plastic EP. And these glasses, where are these glasses? I'm just a humble human being. It's like I go into this superpower that has no, they're limitless. It's like I can't explain to you. I'm like on the net, like millions of miles away from human beings. The joke is now that Earth isn't big enough for me that I have to bounce my network off Mars back to Earth. You know, I just can't tell you how strong this personality Plastic EP really is. It's like, to me, it's unbelievable.
I mean, when you started out on this, and I mean, obviously you've got I know that you love the Monkees, I know that you love the Beatles, I know you love many different sort of aspects of different music. Did you ever sort of think that, you know, 2-3 years on, that you would have done A, this many shows, and B, kind of met as many people as you have and got to know as many people as you have? Was that something you intended to do, or has it just been organic?
It was organic. It just grew quicker. The legend of Plastic EP just grew. And then you see Nathan Liu, he's smart. He comes on and he goes, Plastic EP's got his 900 show. That's 100, that's 200, that's 300, that's 400, that's 500, that's 600, that's 700, that's 800, that's 900. And I'm thinking to myself, he's bringing it home to me to tell me how many shows I've done. Like, that is mind-blowing now. And now I'm being egged on by everyone. You've got to get to 1,000. Well, I mean, I'm 925. I've only got 75 to go. But the way I'm going now, It's like I'm on top of the cloud anyway. I've reached my goal no matter what. You know, the catalogue of Plastic EP, just waking up in the morning and I go somewhere quiet. I do. You don't understand this. I really do. I go to a coffee shop or somewhere where there's not many people. I read the paper. I have a cup of coffee and I've usually done an interview. So I'm the only one who's done it. I watch it by myself to see how it is, how I'm going to edit it, what I'm going to do. And like, I'm left alone and it's like, I can't help it. It's become that. It's like, there's times when I really need to just be alone and just reflect because I'm not in the past now. I mean, what interviews am I doing now in the future? I might be 100 years old and then I've got time to see all these interviews. But at the moment, I'm editing 3 radio shows. I'm on a TV show in the UK. I'm just like, even Vicky knows. Every time she sees me, I'm the computer editor. I've become Mr. Computer Editor. And quite frankly, it's beyond me because the legend is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, I can't handle as one person. I'm struggling now. So, I mean, you know, but I'm pacing myself. So that's the most amazing thing. But when I get these guests that want to come on and it's like mind-blowing, it just drives me even further.
I mean, I must ask, because obviously you've had some incredible guests on your show over the 2 million shows that you've done. And one of the things that's really interesting, I'm sure, for a lot of people is that you've managed to attract some really very well-known people in who have been on not just one show, but a number of shows. So, you know, how have you gone about finding people and how have you managed to build that relationship sort of beyond just doing the shows?
Well, I find people, but what's mind-blowing is I did Malcolm McDowell. Now, you don't know what an honour that is, the man that played in Orange, A Clockwork Orange, and did Caligula and did Lucky Man, right? I mean, he doesn't give interviews to just anybody. And we were talking Beatles because he was the one that narrated the 1982 Beatle documentary, The Complete Beatles, which is hard to get now because you could only buy it on VHS tape back then. You got to go to YouTube and see a few of the episodes. So I say, to be able to talk to someone like that and get the best out of him, and he's telling me everything, and then turn it into a Beatle radio show called Johnny Rock and Roll Radio, which I do on a Saturday. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's on again, rerun, but it starts at 9 a.m. on the Saturday, ET, New York time. I know all the times. You ask Vicky, it took me a month to get the times. Now I get all the times. I think out of the 925 interviews, there's only one time that I mucked up. I just got it wrong.
But Plastic EP does chase the artist he wants to engage with.
Yeah, I go after him. It's like a dog going.
It may take.
It's like this terrier that just goes, you know.
6 months, but constant communication. So if he's got his eye on someone, he will pursue them, and nothing will stop him.
I just want to say, it took me 1 year to get John Sebastian from The Loving Spoonful. 1 year, no one knows. I know how much work. You know someone I'm chasing now? I'm chasing the lead singer from KC and the Sunshine Band. If everyone knows him, right, Harry Wayne Casey, please let me know, because he's been going for 2 years on my list. Can I honestly? And I just want to sing a song with him, disco, on the show. You're like, I'm really looking forward to that one.
I thought that all these people were being held prisoner in your basement, but I'm really relieved to hear that that you go and chase them down around the world, which is really good. So what can people expect from the 75 shows coming up to the 1,000? What things have you got planned?
Hey, they can expect quality plus. That's what I can say. And they can see how Plastic EP has grown right in the last 3 years, and how now I'm taking on the networks. I understand that. People don't understand that. People don't understand that anyone on the net now is actually a celebrity if they've been going 2-3 years, and the commercial networks are watching everything that you're doing, because the internet is a big threat to the commercial networks. And they don't get it, but everything we do is instant. I've done, up until now, I'd say 95% of my shows have been live, mistakes or not, right? I was lucky to do that during the time. And then I had to rely on Zoom because I've had too many problems with technology out of my control, which I'm not happy about. There's two platforms on the net, which you think are going to be reliable when your guests are, but they're not. So now I have to switch to Zoom, whether I like it or not, and pre-record. And after I do the recording and I edit, magic. It's magic. You see the cuts, and you're a film editor. Did you see the Billy J. Kramer interview?
Yeah, it's a very good interview. I love Billy.
Well,
I mean, he's.
How do you rank me as an editor? Because I put it together in my head.
It comes across really well, and I think the thing that's really nice about your approach is that, you know, obviously because you have a way of sort of interviewing people and a dynamicism. Somebody else can say that for me. I can't say anything, but then I think people kind of get into the groove, don't they, with you? It's you know, it takes them a little while maybe to get onto the wavelength, but when they're on the wavelength, then it's really fascinating to watch.
Well, what happens is, I can tell you now, there's no one like me, and there's no one asking the questions like me, and there's no one going for the questions straight away. I don't need 10 minutes to warm up. I don't even need 10 minutes to do my research. I'm bang on it. I also know that I'm capable of doing 10 interviews a day without fail. Easy. It's no problem to me now. It's like, and that is a fact. I know that. And someone said to me, why don't you get straight into a question immediately? I said, listen, when somebody comes on the Plastic EP show, they need to climatize with me. They need to recognize who I am and who, you know what I mean? Because to some people, they go like, in their head, they must think, who's this guy? Unless they've seen me, they go, what's this? Is this guy out of space or something? You know, they need a little bit to climatize with me to understand, hey, it's okay, it's me. I'm here to do the best I can for you. Because do you know another Plastic EP? I don't.
No, I mean, you know, some of the other presenters that I do know who do things, you know, they're all quite sort of, they're quite sort of, you know, big characters. They're, you know, they're loud, they talk a lot, you know, but with you, I mean, it's very hard for you to get a word in edgeways with people because you are very quiet a lot of the time. And
no, I'm a listener, because when I got the right guest on and this guy's telling me his life story, then I'm saying to myself, he wants to talk, let him go.
Yeah. No, and you do
because
it really
that's
well.
what people want. And then I watch the comments. You know, some people call me elastic. I've been called different names on the net. I don't mind. You know, because it's Plastic EP. I try to explain my name. They either get it or they don't. But let me tell you this. Plastic EP is here, and I was born to do this. That's the difference. I know I was born to interview, and a lot of people have told me, you're born for this. You say the right questions. You know how to do it. And when you do it on your own, he goes, you're unbeatable. I'm not like the rest because I'm not in competition. This didn't come overnight. The Plastic EP persona and image started from 78. This success didn't come to me in 78. I don't know anybody who believes in an idea that one day it's going to happen. For years and years, through my head, it's going, I know who Plastic EP is, but the world doesn't know who Plastic EP is. Now, thankfully, might have taken too long to get there, but it just shows if you have that determination and you don't give up. And I never gave up in the idea. And Vicky couldn't understand. Vicky's going, I don't get it with Plastic EP. I don't get it. And the minute I came on, and the world loves me, and they tell me, and they show their appreciation, and it's not about money, and they say, thank you so much for doing that interview, for making my day happy. That's all I need to hear. Seriously, because that's what the pandemic was all about. And I've had so many people tell me, we went through a crap time, but you kept us going through it. You gave us hope, and you made us happy, and you entertained us. Do I need any more than that? No.
No, it's a lovely thing to have as an ongoing sort of portfolio work, but also a legacy. So, you know, okay, one of my final questions, I guess, is how would, in years to come, how would you like to be remembered? Knowing obviously you are a cyborg and you'll go on forever, but in theory, if you were to sort of, you know, in the future, look back on the legacy that is your work, how do you want to be remembered?
Well, put it this way. If I'm not here tomorrow, I know that I've done my job. No matter what number I'm at, There's my catalogue on the net, whether it's 950 pieces going around the net. Every single day I'm around the net. People are discovering me. That's what the most important thing to me is. It's an aggregate. It's not one interview. They find me on one interview and then they go, let's see this guy on another interview. And they don't know that there's 925 floating around. That is mind-boggling. I wake up with that every day and I said, I got there. Do you know what it is to go over the line in a race? I've done it. You know, I've done it. I'm so proud of it. And my wife's so proud of it, Vicky. And I know you're proud of it. And I'm so proud that it happened to me. It might have happened to me in my later years. Doesn't matter. I still look all right. But you know what? I wish it would have happened earlier, but it didn't. But thank God I never gave up on the idea. So this is why I tell everyone out there that has a dream that wants to chase and follow it, do not give up on your dreams, because it does happen. And if you keep working at it, you get there. It's like the Beatles. They went to every record company and they said no, they rejected them. But they didn't listen to them. They went ahead and did their thing and it actually happened. You know, and my love of the world is the number one thing that drives me. And I'm so happy. And I just can't tell you inside. I just beam. Like now I can't wait for the new interview with the cow cells, because that's the kind of person I am. I'm going forward. I'm not going back. I just want to say, Simon, can't thank you enough for the interview. And
it's okay.
Thank you, Vicky, for being here.
It's
nice to be
Can
in
I
the,
just
in
add
the
something, Simon? I think the way that plastic could be remembered in the future is that he's an internet sensation. He's a natural creative songwriter, musician, songwriter, if I can call it that. And he's spontaneous, but he can pick up and speak to people. He can pick up the vibe and he can go with that, and he can bring people and draw people to him and get things out of people that he probably didn't even know he was going to get out of them. So he's definitely got a natural talent to interview and just try and make connections with people and leave a lasting memory with a lot of